I woke up to the sound of a megaphone blaring outside my window. My first thought was that the world was ending. Maybe a tornado warning? A government evacuation? But no, as I groggily pulled back the curtains, I saw something infinitely worse. Karen, standing at the edge of my private lake, wearing an obnoxiously large sun hat, she grinned like she had just discovered America. And surrounding her was an entire army of people. Coolers, fishing rods, lawn chairs, and a massive banner that read, "Welcome to the first annual Community Fishing Derby." For a solid 10 seconds I stood there, blinking. My brain refused to process what I was seeing. It had to be a dream, one of those weird ones where everything felt just a little too real. But then, as I heard the unmistakable splash of someone tossing a line into the water, my dream theory shattered. My private lake, the one I had spent years maintaining, the one I stocked with rare fish, was now the centerpiece of Karen's latest act of insanity. I stormed outside, shoving my feet into mismatched shoes, not even bothering with a shirt. The moment Karen spotted me, she waved like we were old friends. "Oh, good morning, Jake. You're just in time to see the first catch of the day." I stared at her, my mouth slightly open, trying to summon words that weren't just a long, guttural scream. "What the hell is happening?" Karen gave me a patronizing smile, the kind of smile a kindergarten teacher gives a slow child. "Oh, don't be such a grump. We're just having a little community event. It's good for morale, brings people together. And look," she gestured towards the lake, where a man was pulling a wriggling fish out of the water. "We've got some real whoppers in here." I looked closer, my blood turning to ice. That wasn't just any fish. That was one of my prized koi. A fish I had imported from Japan, worth more than Karen's entire SUV. And now, some guy in a cargo vest was gripping it like a cheap base, holding it up for his wife to take a picture. "Put that down," I said, my voice low. The guy blinked. "Huh. Put that down," I repeated. Karen let out an exaggerated laugh. "Oh, Jake, don't be so dramatic. It's just a fish. Besides, you don't own nature." I clenched my jaw so hard my teeth hurt. "Karen, this is private property." She gave me a slow, exaggerated blink, as if I had just spoken in an alien language. "Oh, come on. This lake has been here forever. It belongs to the community." "No. It belongs to me. I have the deed. I have the fences. I have the no trespassing signs." She waved a hand dismissively. "You're being so selfish. I mean, look around. People are having fun. Do you really want to be the guy who ruins everyone's day just because you want to sit inside and stare at your water?" I took a deep breath, willing myself not to explode. But then, as if to personally test my breaking point, a small kid walked by dragging another koi, completely out of the water, its vibrant colors now dull and lifeless. My koi. Dead. The fish I had spent years raising. I snapped. "All right, that's it. Everyone get out," I shouted, my voice echoing across the lake. No one moved. Instead, Karen put a hand on her hip. "Jake, don't be such a child. It's a public event now. I even got a food truck coming later." "Food truck?" As if on cue, I heard the distant hum of an approaching vehicle. I turned just in time to see a massive truck pulling up, its side painted with a cartoonish fish holding a fork and knife. "Fisherman's Feast. Fresh caught and fried." My eye twitched. "Oh, you've got to be kidding me." Karen beamed. "They're doing a special discount for the event. Isn't that thoughtful?" I looked at the truck. I looked at the people. I looked at Karen. And that's when I knew. Talking wasn't going to work. Logic wasn't going to work. Karen wasn't the kind of person who listened to reason. She thrived on pushing boundaries until people either gave up or went insane. I wasn't going to go insane. I was going to win. Turning on my heel, I walked back into my house. I heard Karen call after me, something about lightening up, but I didn't listen. My mind was already racing. By the time I stepped into my garage, a plan had already formed. A plan so devious, so beautifully simple, that I almost laughed out loud. Karen wanted a fishing derby? Fine. Let's see how she handled a fishing derby with no lake. I grabbed my toolbox and set to work, my hands moving with precision. I had installed a water drainage system years ago, a backup plan in case of flooding. It wasn't meant for something like this, but with a few modifications, it would do just fine. All night, I worked in secret, making sure everything was ready. By dawn, I stood by the edge of my property, looking at my masterpiece. The lake was gone. Where there had once been shimmering water, there was now only cracked earth and mud, the remains of fish carefully relocated to a safer location. The air was thick with the smell of damp soil and shattered dreams. And then, as if fate itself wanted to bless me with the best moment of my life, I heard the first scream. What the hell happened? I casually sipped my coffee as I stepped outside. Karen stood frozen at the edge of the barren lake, her mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping for air. Around her, people murmured in confusion, their fishing rods now completely useless. Karen spun to face me, her eyes wild. What did you do? I shrugged. Oh? You mean the lake? I guess nature works in mysterious ways. Her face turned beet red. You drained it. You maniac. I took another sip of coffee. Hey, Karen. She glared at me. You don't own nature. I had never seen someone go through all 5 stages of grief in under 10 seconds before, but Karen managed. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, all flashing across her face in rapid succession. And then, the real chaos began. People started yelling, demanding refunds. Someone accused Karen of running a scam. A man in an official-looking vest started asking about permit. The Fisherman's Feast food truck, now useless, revved its engine and backed out of the driveway, leaving a cloud of dust in its wake. Karen looked around, desperate for an escape, but there was none. She had built this whole event around my lake. And now, without it, all she had was an angry mob and a whole lot of explaining to do. I turned and walked back inside, whistling a tune. Revenge? It was a beautiful thing. The moment Karen's shriek echoed across my now waterless lakebed, I knew I had won. There was something profoundly satisfying about watching someone who had spent so much time steamrolling over people finally hit a wall she couldn't push past. Her arms flailed as she turned in a circle, her sun hat slipping sideways, her mouth opening and closing like a fish that had just been yanked from the water. The irony of that comparison wasn't lost on me. The crowd, which had gathered for what they thought would be a friendly fishing derby, was now a confused, angry mess. Parents pulled their kids away, muttering under their breath. Some people walked up to the edge of the cracked lakebed, as if expecting the water to magically reappear. Others demanded refunds from Karen, their voices rising in frustration. A man in a fishing vest pulled off his hat and scratched his head, looking around like he had just woken up in a different dimension. Karen spun to face me, her face an impressive shade of red. You did this. I took a slow sip of my coffee and shrugged. Did what? She stomped towards me, her sandals slapping against the dirt. Don't play dumb, Jake. You drained the lake. She flailed her hands toward the barren ground. You sabotaged the entire event. I nodded. Yeah, I did. For a moment, she looked genuinely taken aback, like she had expected me to deny it, to squirm under the weight of her accusation. But the truth was, I wasn't ashamed in the slightest. If anything, I was downright proud. She let out an incredulous laugh. Do you have any idea how much work I put into this event? I stared at her. Do you have any idea how much work I put into that lake? Her jaw tightened. You don't own nature. I raised an eyebrow and pointed at the now bone-dry lakebed. Well, nature seems to have taken my side. The crowd had begun to turn against her. At first, they had been confused. Now, they were getting angry. A man with sunglasses and an expensive-looking watch crossed his arms. So, we all paid for a fishing derby and now there's no water? A woman in a wide-brimmed hat pointed at Karen. Are you going to